Hey everyone, welcome back to another deck profile. Today we have the champion, as you can tell by his mat, Nitro, showing off his Royal Knights deck that actually won him the tiebreaker, as well as the one he played for what, two or 3 weeks before the end?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Yeah. So without further ado, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah. This is not going to be a standard list because my postal service messed up my cards, but we'll get to what I was supposed to have. But obviously for Royal Knights, for King Drazel. If you don't know what this card does, you're living under a rock. It makes everything cheaper. It literally is your saving grace for this deck, and it's the only way this deck works. So it's the only way you will ever play in Royal Knights. For the level for the non Royal Knights, I still I've seen people play four of or 3 to 4 of Omeka. I like the four on play draw one, and when it dies, if it dies, this thing always had jamming for me. You get to place a Royal Knight under this. It is a mandatory effect. I've had people question why I did it like so later. I'm like, oh yeah, I have to place. I don't have a choice. So it's a better card, but also can really slow down your game in a sense with that force. I do two Sister Mont Blanc and two CL. I've seen people do four of this and none of this, three or one. I like this ratio. This obviously draw two. Decoy really never comes up. If it does, it's very rare. This CL is kind of also good. So I've had to do where I play out all my Royal Knights like a little too early and I can't finish game. I just drop this and everything usually has a blocker with like Leopardmon or something. And then finally, two Porcupamon, because Floodgates kind of kill this deck. Psychmon, Solarmon, we just need ways of removal, and this is a good one. I like it. For the four of Royal Knights, I do four Dynasmon. This is your Pot of Greed. Also, just searches everything. On play, search the top four, add two Royal Knights or Lucamon, and then when you play a Royal Knight, when this is on the field, it just nukes every level four, which is insane. I love this card. And then obviously four of Omnimon. This is your turn killer. If you drop this, you're most likely gonna kill right then and there. Needs no explaining. It brings out every Royal Knight from underneath Big Yggdrasil with a different name. Love this card. This is the weird part. I've done testing. I've dropped Magna to 3. It's good early and mid game. I don't like it late game unless you drop the Omni, which at that point you should just be going for game. And also when it leaves, you draw a card, so it's really nice. It helps further extend your plays. The best card in my opinion, three Genku on play. When did you evolve? You get to fucking drag out a Royal Knight from underneath the Yggdrasil or play a Sister from trash. I love this card most of the time because I just either brought out like a Royal Knight just to stall for an extra turn or just clear and control the board, which is really nice. And what I usually bring out with Genkumon is Alphamon, because this just deters Shine Gray from attacking with their big stuff. And another card I play. Alphamon, obviously, you tuck something from with Royal Knight or X antibody, so anything in this deck almost prevents 10 cost or higher from attacking, and then if it would leave the battle area by an effect, you just bottom deck that source. I love this card. This card's insane. And then 3 Leopardmon. This card's also nuts, so on main, you get to just reduce another Royal Knight by 4. So you can just bring this and Magna out for 3. That's a good combo I've seen people do. And then whenever you play a Royal Knight, everything gets blockers. So you Omni, everything else gets blockers. So I love this card. Will not change any ratio so far. Um, two ofs. We have two Old Force. Great card on play. It trashes the top two sources. And if you bring this out early enough, it's just gonna bounce that card back to hand. Love this card. Two Craniumon. I've seen people do 3. I like 2. It's my saving grace. On play, it's unaffected by your opponent's Digimon effects until the end of your turn. And then end of the opponent's turn, you have to force an attack. So if they play a Digimon, you can target that, but it won't be able to attack. This card's just really good. I love it. And then two Jesmon. This card's also good. You bring this out with Genku or just on play by itself. For every, it starts with a 6k DP deletion, but for every other Digimon, it's plus 2k, which is kind of insane. I thought it was every Royal Knight at first, but nope, it's every other Digimon. It's kind of nuts. And then it also boosts all of your Digimon by 1,000 for every other Royal Knight. So it's kind of insane. And then finally, I changed this recently to Kintaros. This was supposed to be another Gallant, except my Postal Carrier messed up and did not get it to me in time, so I just went with the two. On play, if there's 6 for your security, you gain 3 memory, so automatically just becomes like 10 cost, and then you can place the security if it's a yellow card. If it's not, it just goes back to your hand. Kind of nuts. I always put Marcus in there, which is fun. One of, like I said, I did change this Gallant up to 2. This Gallant just kind of helps control the board. It reduces the cost for by 2 for every 5 cards in trash, so it's further reduced with the Yggdrasil, which is nice. On play, when Digivolve when attacking, you delete something with 6k. If not, delete something with 13k. Helps clear most of the board, sometimes, not all the time. The other ones are 1 BT12 Gallant, 1 Lord Knight, 1 Examon. This Examon was my saving grace in the game 1 against Doc. He just rammed into it, and I killed his Wargrave, which was phenomenal. And you bring this out and this Gallant with Purge out a lot in my build, and you just clear and control the board, which is really fun. Lord Knight really doesn't need any explanation. Recurs something from trash, and then for every Royal Knight, when your opponent attacks, you gain a memory, so kind of helps. But very finicky. I don't like playing two. Options, we play 4 Purge of the Royal Knights. I know it's Royal Knights of the Purge in the English, but I like the Purge better. Purge of the Royal Knights. So you play this, you draw a card, and then you can get to place one underneath Yggdrasil. You don't have to. It's not like Omeka where you're forced to. And then this gets placed in the battle area. And then Yggdrasil, for every other Yggdrasil source in it, you gain a memory for each. So you drop this for 6, you can potentially just have it for 3, which is nice. 2 Kongu is what I was testing. I've been testing this, Crimson Blaze, and Odin's Breath. I kind of like this. I might try Odin's Breath again. Obviously, players can attack with 7 or cost or less, and cards can be added to security by opponent's effects. Stop Shine Gray if you do the Alphamon Congo lock for a turn, so really nice. Love this card. And then finally, 2 Marcus, 2 Memory Setter, and on play, you get to suspend it, kill something like a Psychmon or Solomon. Helps just get the deck going and prevents floodgates from locking you up. And that's it.
So, what would you say out of all the Royal Knights, besides Omnimon, because of course it plays everything out, what would you say is like your MVP besides the big bad Omni?
MVP, I would have to say Exa along with, I want to say Genku in a sense. Because Genku, like I said, it just brings out any other Royal Knight, which is insane. So it brings out itself and a blocker. I love this. And then this Examon, it just helps me clear and control the board really quick. Because EX3-1 always, when it attacks, it unsuspends itself and suspends something else. In the match against Jock, I just cleared his whole board. Which I just love this card. I've seen people try to play the EX, or not the EX, the new one, the BT13. I just don't like it. It's 1k less. And this is just a bit more of a control card. That one, I guess it's more of a control card as well, but this one just helps a lot more, in my opinion.
So, what would you say out of all the matches you played, what would you say is the easiest for that deck to just go in and beat up on?
Um, I would say easiest, probably, in my opinion. I would say maybe Bloom in a sense, and then maybe Hunters if it's early game. Hunters, they have to, if they do a Restaurant Superior, they have to tuck something, and by that point, you really don't have like a Tamer or something else out. Like they can't even tuck it under Purge. It has to be a Tamer or Digimon, which is insane. Bloom, it's easier to control if you do a Purge, like you purge out a Dynasmon, and then you just play a Royal Knight with like the Yggdrasil cost reduction. It just nukes their whole board because most of the time they only have level 4s and below. If it does, it doesn't sometimes nuke their whole board, but if you don't even have like that option, I found that this Gallant really helps clear the board if they overextend. Because in a recent tournament, a Bloom Lord player I was facing, he ended on a Quartz and a Bloom. He left me with almost nothing. I played this, cleared his Quartz, and then cleared his Bloom. He had nothing in back or Tamers, and I won the game quickly after that.
So, exact opposite question. What would you say is your toughest matchup for that deck?
Uh, the mirror match and possibly Belfamon. I've only played against Belfamon twice, but both times I've decked him out just by doing like Alphamon lock and Gankumon to bring out Alpha. The Royal Knight mirror match, it's honestly a touch and go basis. It's whoever can get the Omni faster and who can get like as many sources underneath. Because in the mirror match, you have to have, in my opinion, you have to have Jessamon. Because Jessamon just boosts all your Royal Knights. So if you have this, you're clearing everything in their security. But if you don't have this, it's gonna be like a touch and go in a sense.
Yeah, I know a lot of. I mean, as you know, and I don't know if anyone watching the video knows, I've switched over to security control lately. Every time I play Royal Knights, it hits the point where they put out Omni. They have 8 swings and they hit 2 degrades.
Mm.
So I enjoy it personally, but it seems
I
like
haven't faced Jock's second control with this yet, so I don't know how that matchup is for me. But if it is like degrades and all that, I would probably, if I had enough memory, I would do the Kongu to prevent degrade from activating.
that is true. I don't. The list that I keep seeing at locals don't actually run Kongu. They run Oh God, I forgot what that. The one that restands a Royal Knight,
Oh,
Senko.
second Meppa.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I was messing around with that GX build when I first saw it going around, and then I found out people were misusing the second Meppa because they thought, oh, it's like the Purge. It just places itself. I'm like, no, it does not. It has to be placed in the battle area, like
Yeah,
a
because that
delay.
actually happened in the regional when it was on one of the PPG streams, and they were like, "How'd they gain memory back?" And they're like, "Oh, they played the option." And it's like, no, that's not how that works.
Yeah, because the Yggdrasil clearly sta specifically states it has to be placed in the battle area. Royal Knights of the Purge is the only one in the game right now that does that. Second Meppa, it's a cool tech with GX, but I don't, I can't find room for it. I try to find room for it, but it's very finicky because GX is a good card. Don't get me wrong. I love Jessamon GX, but in order to fulfill all of its effects, you have to Digivolve it, and Yggdrasil prevents that. Until the only time you're ever going to do a GX to go for game is if this is gone off of Omni's effect. But by then, you're already winning. You should be winning by then.
And if you're not winning by then, you're probably losing.
Hmm.
So out of, I know this is Royal Knights, obviously, as everyone knows, is new to BT13. Out of the decks you've been playing in the past few sets, would you say this is probably your favorite, or maybe like top three?
I would say this is definitely top three. Nothing will ever compare to me and my child, which is Gundam.
Fair.
I love I love Crossheart, and then obviously Penguin knows that I've had a deep love for my boy Chaos Dramon. I will always love the Chaos and Machine Dramon deck because it was actually going to get a little bit of support once we get the new structure decks.
That is
So
true.
I'll probably go back between these two, maybe even this, because I've redone the list a little bit, and I actually have had fun playing with it again.
So, I mean, you've seen a lot of what's coming out in BT14. You've seen the structure decks. Is there anything coming up that you would think about adding to Royal Knights, or Royal Knights is pretty much just good as it is for a few sets?
As far as I can tell, there's nothing really to be added to Royal Knights. For BT14, I might, like I said, I might bounce between these three decks, but I might lean more towards this than this, only because I know a lot of people are going to start running the ace cards, and this deck just kind of like it just goes nuts. Like you did evolve all their stuff, you get every memory back for free, and you just go off. With this, it's kind of like the same thing. You just like play something to control the board. It overflows, and you can do more plays. Like with Leopard, Kentaro's like gain back that memory, reduce cost. There's so many things when BT14 comes out that I'm just really excited to test more decks with. because I think if I remember correctly, we get the Digipolice deck. I think
Yep.
I might
Super
mess around.
excited.
I might mess around with that because that looks fun. The only deck I might be concerned about is the Fenrir deck because that deck is actually kind of scary because that boss monster it will not pass turn until your memory is at 3, which is an interesting card. I love it.
Yeah, it feels like they went, well, we're going to put in counters, so let's put in something else that completely flips the rules on its head and make it so that you have to have three to start.
Exactly.
It's just so. I don't know. That's definitely going to be an interesting deck to play against, and I think you are right. I think with Chaos, I think with anything that can de-digivolve, anything that can, remove cards easily, will do a little bit better in 14 if a lot of people are playing Overflow and Ace cards.
Which I wouldn't see why they're not because I know as English players we got the two aces earlier than Japan players, but I've seen next to no play of them. Like maybe the occasional one Melga ace or Melgarurumon ace in the Hunter's deck, and then Jock with his War Greymon ace in our tiebreaker match. But I've not seen anyone play them. Like yeah, they're powerful cards, but they have like a reduced power, and the overflow mechanic just kind of makes them meh
Well, and
for
the
some of
and the
some of them.
play cost is, I think, for the War Greymon, it's a play cost of 6. So if anyone runs DG Dimension, you de-digivolve three things and then pop three 6 play cost or lower, and it's like, well, that's sort of great because now it's free.
Basically, yeah.
But that is going to be all for us. Again, that was Nitro with his Royal Knights Champion deck. We will be running Season 2 coming up. It will feature a very awesome mat, so I hope everyone's going to be on the lookout for that. As well as within the next week and a half, we will be doing a Death to the King event where
Yeah.
anyone can come out and challenge one of the three decks that it's going to be those three decks, right?
More than likely.
I didn't
In
get
case
that.
my post office messes up again. The other three decks that I probably will be running are this, the Machindra, and I might mess around with if I can find the actual good card of this deck because I've been building it slowly.
Oh
Is
no.
Mirage.
So you will
Guess
have
what?
a choice. It will be a blind choice. You'll choose one, two, or three. You'll play against that deck, and the first one to dethrone the king will win one of our Black War Greymon mats that we ended our last season with. So, other than that, that is all for us. We hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your weekend, rest of your Christmas, Thanksgiving. Whenever you are watching, just enjoy yourselves. And until next time, Nitro's champion, and that's really all there is to it. Come knock him off his throne.
Yeah, Penguin's not happy that I've failed upwards. To note for the people that know this, I have not won a single tournament. Not one. And I still won the champion.
Second place. It's that spirit. You just gotta put in the work, and you can do anything.
Exactly. Heart of
But
the card.
heart of the cards. Oh my god. With that, we are out. Everyone, have a good day.
Peace.